Hello, Star Island kids. My name is Lucia. I'm going to read you a story. It's called The Bear That Missed the Boat. And it's a story that was written by my mother, Portia Weiskel, and it's illustrated by Julia Morgan. And these are two people who still go to Star Island. They go to the International Affairs Conference, as do I. This is a true story and something that happened to me when I was a little girl on Star Island. The Bear Who Missed the Boat. One summer, two little girls named Heidi and Lucia sailed out to Star Island with their mother to attend the International Affairs Conference. The ferry took a whole hour to get there. It was the girls' second trip to the island, and this time they brought their bears, who had never seen a seagull or had never had a boat ride. Heidi's bear was Bear with Pants, and Lucia's bear was Rainbow Sweetie. On the way out, the girls held the bears out so they could see the dock in Portsmouth getting smaller and smaller, and the dock on Star Island getting larger and larger. I think some of you might recognize that picture. When you're on the Thomas Layton coming out to Star Island, you first see the dock and you're about to get off. And it's so exciting. When they arrived on the island, the sisters gave their bears a tour of their favorite places. They ran up the front steps and into the lobby where friends were playing Mozart on the piano and violin. They peeked in the gift shop and they ran to the snack bar. They said hello to the many people and they got lots of hugs. The sisters settled the bears safely in their rooms. They were afraid the bears might get lost or be sprayed by a really big wave. Lucia went off to collect crabs under the seaweed with Jenny and Lisa, her friends. And Heidi went out to the rocks with Sarah and Christina, her friends, to watch the big waves. And then all the kids got together and rowed across Gosport Harbor to Smutty Nose Island. And there we are. This is me when I'm a little girl. And that's my bear, Rainbow Sweetie. And this is my sister, Heidi. And that's her bear, Bear with Pants. It's kind of a funny name, Bear with Pants. In the evening, Lucia and Heidi walked up the path to the chapel for the candlelight service. They sat on the rocks and listened to the singing and the seagulls and the foghorn. Rainbow Sweetie and Bear with Pants did not go to chapel because bears might get lost around the rocks and the tall grass. Maybe it will get dark and they might lose their bears, so better not bring them to chapel. Have you ever gone to chapel? At night with a candle? Walked up the path? One morning, Rainbow Sweetie and Bear with Pants came to breakfast. A waitress brought them a bowl because they looked like real bears who might like real oatmeal. In the afternoon, Lucia brought Rainbow Sweetie to watch the softball game between the conference people and the workers on the island who call themselves pelicans. The pelicans almost always win, but everyone has a good time. During the game, Michael Jaffe hit such a long home run that the ball went into the ocean. Lucia got so excited that she ate 2 Charleston shoes. So there we are. Those are our feet. That's my mom's feet. And she has I think she has holes in her sneakers. Well, that's my feet. And we're looking down. We're watching the baseball game. This is the old rail. It says, do not sit on the rail. But, oh, someone's sitting on the rail. And there's the bears having breakfast. I bet you might recognize that picture there. Most of the time, Rainbow Sweetie and her chum, Bear with Pants, were up in room 1 of the Oceanic Hotel, on the windowsill, looking out at the lighthouse and the Pelican Laundry, until it was time to leave. Most of the conference people left early on Saturday morning with their suitcases and tennis rackets and art projects and Star Island sweatshirts and, of course, all of their memories. The ferry came to the island dock to bring the conference people back to Portsmouth. Nearly everyone got on, and when the boat pulled away from the dock, everyone shouted a little cheer, S-T-A-R, S-T-A-R, Oceanic, Oceanic, rah, rah, rah. You will come back, you will come back. Everyone was waving and blowing kisses, and some people cried. Usually nobody wants to leave the island, but eventually everyone has to. Lucia and Heidi and their mother were still on the dock. They were staying later to help the pelicans make the beds for the next group of people coming to the island. First, they cleaned their own rooms, and they put all their suitcases in the hall, and then they filled their carry-on bags with Star Island sweatshirts and a keychain and bumper stickers showing the chapel and earrings with stars and little shells and books from the bookstore, all intended for surprises for Christmas Day. There was also a few island rocks that would spend the winter in the mainland house. The handmade kites, pieces of driftwood, and art projects using weeds and gull feathers that wouldn't fit anywhere else were left next to their suitcases. Heidi put Bear with Pants into her suitcase, and Lucia put Rainbow Sweetie on top of her suitcase. And then they all left to clean the other rooms. That's all of our luggage. You can see Rainbow Sweetie is sitting there next to a mug and a t-shirt and a kite. All of your things. After the rooms were done, Lucia and Heidi helped Ginny McGill get the chapel ready for the next conference. Ginny made beautiful flower arrangements out of weeds and driftwood and island wildflower. Lucia had decided to bring Rainbow Sweetie, and she sat on the rocks outside the chapel. After lunch, Lucia and Heidi swept the floors in one of the cottages, and Rainbow Sweetie sat on a rocking chair on the porch. Finally, there was only 1 hour until the 3 o'clock boat would come and take Lucia and Heidi and their mother and their bears back to Portsmouth. They put their suitcases in their room for a pelican to carry to the boat, and then they walked down the path to the dock. On the dock, some pelicans were putting suitcases onto the boat, and others were taking boat boxes off. There were boxes of peanut butter and eggs and hot chocolate to feed people coming onto the island. As always, there was a lot of seagulls flying around. Lucia and Heidi stepped onto the ramp onto the boat. "This is the best place in the world," Heidi said, and tears came to her eyes. "We will definitely come back." Suddenly, Lucia said, "Where is Rainbow Sweetie?" She looked alarmed. "Oh," said Lucia's mother, she's probably in one of those bags, maybe in the suitcase." They looked everywhere, but there was no bear. Lucia began to cry. Lucia's mother was sure that Rainbow City would be somewhere close by. If only she had a few more minutes, that she could run back to the island and find the bear. But Captain Whitaker always leaves on time. The boat began to move away from the dock. Rainbow Sweetie had missed the boat. "What's wrong?" called her friend Edith from the dock. Edith and her husband Dave were the island caretakers, and they knew practically everything about the island. "Lucia left her bear on the island," shouted her mother over the sounds of the boat and the people. She could hear the Star Island cheer, "S-T-A-R, S-T-A-R. You will come back, you will come back." "Yes," said Lucia's mother, "we have to come back right now." "But how? There are no boats back tonight." Her heart sank. "Where did you leave it?" called Edith over the noise. "I don't know. Maybe near the chapel or on the porch," Lucia's mother called back. How would Lucia go to bed without Rainbow Sweetie? Her mother wondered. Every night the bear sat on Lucia's pillow as she fell asleep, and no other bear would do. Oh, there's little Rainbow Sweetie. Where is she? The boat was now moving out of the harbor. Already the island looked smaller. Heidi and Lucia and their mother went up to the top deck, and Lucia tried to be brave. "Mom," she said, "I'm trying to look at the waves." "I love looking at the waves." But tears filled her eyes. They looked through all of their things again. Their mother tried to be cheerful. "Someone will find Rainbow Sweetie, Lucia," she said, "and they'll mail her to us." "But Rainbow Sweetie wants to be with us now," said Lucia. "She doesn't want to be in a box in the mail, and what if nobody finds her?" Everyone was miserable. Back at the island, Edith quickly searched the places where the bear might have been. She found Rainbow Sweetie upside down on the floor in the room where the suitcases were left. Edith scooped Rainbow Sweetie up under her arm and ran back to the dock to find Dave. There's Edith Pearson, and there is Rainbow Sweetie under a chair, looking a little bit flopped. I think she fell off a suitcase. Jim, the island manager, and Dave were talking on the dock when Edith rushed up with the bear. They had been on the island for many years, and they could do unusual things that no one else was allowed to do. Well, said Dave, we could mail the bear, or we could use the whaler. The whaler was Jim's boat. It was a small boat, but it was fast. Let's do it, said Jim. You can see the bear in his hand. He's saying, let's go that way. Here's a picture that I bet a lot of you recognize. The Thomas Layton leaving Star Island, going past the buoy, back into Portsmouth. When the passengers on the boat saw the two men and the bear, they all cheered. Jim and Dave made big circles around the boat to get Captain Whitaker's attention. Captain Whitaker finally noticed and slowed down, and Dave carefully tossed the bear over the water and into the hands of the boat crew. Rainbow Sweetie was on the boat. Everyone cheered. One of the boat crew ran quickly up to the top deck and handed Rainbow Sweetie to Lucia. Heidi had taken Bear with Pants out of her suitcase when the girls could finally speak. They cried and hugged each other and their bears. It was a wonderful reunion. Their mother suddenly remembered to look for Jim and Dave in their little boat, but they were already almost out of sight, headed back to the island. And there's a picture of Jim and Dave. They're in their boat, and those are the hands of somebody who works for the boat, and they're throwing this bear over the ocean. Can you imagine what would happen if they dropped him? But they didn't. When the boat arrived in Portsmouth, the family rushed to Hoyt's stationery store, just making it through the door at closing time. They brought colored paper and magic markers and stickers to make a big thank you card. They raced back to the dock and they put the thank you card into the hands of Captain Bob Whitaker, who assured them he would hand-deliver it to the island heroes. And that's not the original card because, of course, we gave it away, but this is kind of a replica. It says, marvelous, wow, super, awesome. I should have known, the mother thought to herself. Little miracles always happen on Star Island. Driving away, she glanced back to see the happy faces of Lucia and Heidi and the bears sitting in the back seat side by side. For a moment, she thought she heard Rainbow Sweetie's little voice. The bears get to come back too? There we are. That's my big sister Heidi with Bear with Pants, and me with Rainbow Sweetie, and that's my mom. Thank you for listening to the story. I hope we see you next year on Star Island.